hanging out in our pajamas during quarantine season, friends. So, for those of you who stumbled onto this part of the internet by accident, hi, friends. My name's John. That's Josh. We are El Wencho.
We're not even sure if anybody's watching us yet. I can't tell.
That's what kills me.
This is our first foray into this.
How cool would this be, dog, if we had one fan in Germany? Yes, they are my favorites. It's like 8 a.m. over there. Cheers, friends. Jenny Brown.
Okay, we got some. How you doing?
Nicole Berry's birthday.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
Happy birthday, Nicole. Nicole Berry, happy birthday, damn dog, and I love you. Happy birthday, Nicole Berry, dog, and I love you. And we love you too, Jenny Brown. Downtown Jenny Brown.
Porterhouse.
Downtown Jenny Brown. Yeah,
all right.
Jenny, I love, go ahead, dog. I was just going to say I love the polos from Wade and seeing the kiddos. That's awesome. All right.
Hey, gang. So this is obviously a new foray into all things tech. This kind of format is more or less, well, it's obviously very informal. We want this to be a hang session with you guys because we don't really ever get to talk to you, even when we are on the road, unless we're staying at your house. So if you guys have questions, if you have questions about the song, like what lyric, what's he singing, anything like that, John is our puppet right now. So I'm going to be moderating kind of the chat room here. And if there's requests, or this isn't really going to be a performance-based deal. This is more, we have an agenda. We've got 2 or 3 songs that we want to go over and discuss and kind of tell you about the songwriting process behind them and the initiation of the writing process. But if there's any questions and stuff like that, we'll go. And I want to try to do this probably once a week. We're going to start out with the new songs from the upcoming project and go from there. So John, why don't you introduce this song here? And this is going to be our single on the yet to be determined release of our new record. But it will be a single. We're going to put out most likely 3 to 4 singles before the full project actually launches around the holiday season. At this point, it could be after the first of next year. We don't know. But this is called Live by the Gun. It was the single or the first track off of Under the Big Sky Sessions. And yeah, John will tell you kind of the original process for it. I've got a couple of comments from Jim Napier, who also wrote this, that I will talk about when he's done playing. How about that?
So perfect. So dog, obviously we discussed we'd do some songs. We did discuss format. Should we just sing it and then talk about it? And it's hi, Mare. By the way, Mare, love you.
Why don't you sing it?
Oh, sorry, just got to give shout outs to the people.
Yeah, I know you do. Why don't
all 4 of our fans? We got to make sure we acknowledge them, dog.
I'm gonna have to. I'm just gonna have a mute button on you. All right, I'm gonna mute you, but I want to talk. So they'll play the song, and then we can talk about it afterwards.
All right. So this is called "Live by the Gun," and I'm taking my headphones off so I can actually hear myself. All right.
There you go.
Fresh off the board in the promised land, 24 hours, got a gun in my hand. Sagebrush, pear bars I can see. God bless manifest destiny. Night of hard drinking and I met a bad man. Traded money for my soul and my quick hand. A contract paying for some men to be dead. Paid me silver to fix it with lead. Boats are circling overhead. There's a number to my death song. Covered in blood and I only see red. Living too fast, it won't last long. Ever on the run, never look back, son. Live by the gun and you're gonna die young. No time wasted on a cold dark day. Smelled their fear from a mile away. Charged in fast as the morning broke. Thunder and lightning in a cloud of smoke. A pistol flashed fast as a cottonmouth's fang. Down the high valley its venom rang. Ground got greasy as the blood soaked in. Not a single man ever stood again. Boats are circling overhead. There's a number to my death song. Covered in blood and I only see red. Living too fast, it won't last long. Ever on the run, never look back, son. Live by the gun and you're gonna die young. Yeah. Chased by posses, the bounty grows. It doesn't know, so I laid and rose. Lone wolf never did need no pack. Pulled my first trigger, I can never turn back. Flash of gunpowder and a streak of light. My spirit will vanish into the light. Sin and hate, I die right here. Ghosts go west, disappear. Boats are circling overhead. There's a number to my death song. Covered in blood and I only see red. Living too fast, it won't last long. Ever on the run, never look back, son. Live by the gun and you're gonna die young. Ever on the run, never look back, son. You live by the gun and you're gonna die young.
Yeah. Good job, buddy.
And of course, I can't hear anything, dog, so I'm just assuming that no one was waving their hands saying, sounds like donkey dung.
So I'm gonna some of you guys have met the elusive Jim Napier. Some of you guys have lived with him. Some of you guys have seen him about. Some of you guys don't know who he is. Jim Napier, who I've begged and pleaded to come on to this show tonight, gave me one of these and said, not a chance. So I want to give him due credit for not only his friendship over the years with John, obviously, but he is really, really instrumental in our songwriting craft, their songwriting craft, him and John. And I've been trying to kind of piecemeal my way into their posse of songwriting for years now, and I'm finally just starting to implement myself. But I do have a quote that I'm going to start off with him, John. Before I'm gonna do Jimmy quotes, and then you can rebuttal. You have your chance for a rebuttal because we all know that you are going to have a completely different story than he will, I'm sure. So,
Dude, Jim and I, for some reason, our memories, man, they always conflict. I'm like, no, man, I wrote that line. Which one of us done wrote that line? So,
right.
anyways, what's the quote he had, dog?
So Jimmy, of course, I said, well, if you're not going to join us live, you got to give me some fodder. So, and this is actually true stuff. It's true stuff. He's not embellishing this stuff. This is just how he actually thinks and operates. You want to go down a rabbit hole? Here we go. Okay. So this is Jim Cranston Napier, Esquire. Live by the Gun began as an idea about an Irish immigrant farmer. John played the riff, and we went from there. Jumped off a boat and took a trip overland, working 12 hours with a shovel in my hand, something like that. A few hours later, I thought, that's not all that interesting. What if we made it about a bad guy? That was his initial impression of after John played the riff. So that basically is how these things start. John either comes to Jim with an idea, or Jim has an idea on a premise, and then they just go to work. I'll let you take it from there, man. What do you remember about that?
Jim
song specifically?
Well, I've been messing with this drop D. So, like, if there are any guitar players, like, I've never written a song in drop D where you drop the bottom. I've just never done that, and it's only is what it is. So, you're noodling around, and so I pitched this kind of weird riff to Jim. It's really dark. And I was telling him, what if it's a song about hardship, like a life of hardship with a farmer? And he was like, all right, go with it. So the first lyrics were 24 hours, or fresh off the boat in the promised land, 24 hours, got a shovel in my hand. It was going to be about a dude who basically worked the railroads. And yeah, an hour or two in, he's like, no, dude, this is about a bad guy. And now anybody who knows me knows that I'm a hopeless romantic. And I'm like, we can't write a bad guy song, Jim. And so Jim, he was pretty insistent about it. And I don't remember the first lyrics that he pitched, but when the hook came out, the vulture circling overhead, it was very clear that, oh yeah, this guy's he's doomed. whoever this dude is, he's doomed. And so we had to figure out why he was doomed, and then the story just kind of unfolds. And if anybody else writes songs, it's strange because Jim and I will be like, well, it was your idea to make the song about a Corvette, but the whole songwriting process is while you're writing it, it's about editing. So it might be about a Corvette for 5 minutes and then it changes. What if it's about this? What if it's about that? And so this was one of those songs that just kind of, I told him a story of my great grandfather who emigrated to the New World from Ireland with a misery whip in his hand, one of those big 2-man saws. And then it changed to a shovel in his hand. Then it changed to a gun in his hand. And now this guy's an outlaw. And now he's an outlaw in the American West, murdering people. And now he's being chased by a posse. So when the whole song was said and done, both Jim and I stepped back and went, yeah, that's unbelievable. That's not something we write. It was a really cool thing to be a part of because we just let it become what it was supposed to become. So yeah, I'm proud of that one.
I know that when I first heard that song, I don't have the intricacies of the stories. Like when Jim first heard it or John first heard Jim talk about a premise of a song. My memories are pretty much very vibrant for like one thing, and then the rest is just all hazy, which obviously you couldn't tell. I remember he played me that in like February or March of 2019. So basically a year ago. And that is still my favorite song ever that he's ever written. And there's something about the progression, the melody. I love playing it, which if you ask any performer and songwriter, what are the 3 elements of what your favorite songs are? And it's awesome tune, fun to play, and it relates. And those are that song has got all of it. So whether or not you don't like it, we like it. So whatever.
Yeah, there was weird because all I wanted to say is like for those of you who followed El Wencho and are fans of El Wencho and have supported us, like that you've seen our journey from starting the Clintons and then becoming what we became as a side project just to scratch the Red Dirt itch that we have. We love Red Dirt music, and then to see what this has become. We are now on the point in our career. If we don't like it, we're not going to play it. And it's not any offense to anybody else. We're the ones who have to play it night in, night out. And so we're not going to go out there and play, and I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just because every other band is playing it or whatever. Like if it doesn't get Dog and I high, we're not playing it. And so one thing I remember of you, Dog, is when I played Live by the Gun, one listen, and you were like, that we will play that song till the day we die. I
Yeah.
love that song.
Yeah.
Because that's where Dog and I are. It's just if a song gets us high, then we want to play it because we know it'll get other people high. And
Well,
you're just like that. I'm paraphrasing your comment, but you're like, yep, that's another that we'll be playing that one for 4 decades or whatever you made the comment.
I mean, you guys all know that we're not blowing sunshine up anybody's ass, but we also we realize what, I mean, obviously this is an art, right? So like any musician, any artist, any author, any spoken word guy, any sculptor, it's all a subjective medium. But so the tangible elements are like what John just said. For us performing, and we know that there's songs that you guys like that we don't necessarily like to play, or that we're over them, or we think this is going to be a hit, or not even a hit. This is just something. This is going to be awesome, and because we love it so much, and it doesn't go over well. It's all about. It doesn't necessarily have to be relating all the time and gelling all the time. It's about the dynamic and being able to not only the dynamic of a live show, but the dynamic of a record and the dynamic of it's okay if it takes a while for folks to get it, or they might not ever catch on to it. It's all right, because we'd rather have a lot of content for you to sift through, God willing, in a career. And regardless of regardless of accolades and all that stuff, it's about being able to have enough content that we want to keep on doing it, regardless of how the feedback comes back. So there is a little bit of selfishness in it as far as our craft, in order for us to keep wanting to go out there and do it. Right. So I think that when, I hear, get comments like that from Jim, and especially, hearing John's, I hear John's, retorts all the time because we spend a lot of time on the road, obviously, but when you can kind of get to the bottom of the whole inception of a song or an idea or a melody, it's pretty cool because, John being a songwriter there's a lot of intimate qualities that come with that he's sharing, whether you guys like it or not, he's going to do it. Right. So I think it's pretty cool to kind of dive into some of the stuff that people might not have ever, either you haven't met us before, or you've only seen us live. You don't know any of the backstories. It's like a Paul Harvey thing here, the rest of the story. How about, so I'm going to throw you a curveball, John.
Sure, doggy.
So our friend Megan, I believe it was, wanted to hear a new song called Troubadour.
Yeah.
This song has had a couple of different titles since we first started working on it. Originally it was called Songs We Love. And then I think we tried to change it. I think I wanted to change it to let's make this into something or something like that.
Yeah,
Anyways, we decided this song is obviously new. We're still kind of sifting through it and trying to vibe on it. I think the lyrical content and the story behind it is really great, and it's tangible to a lot of folks. John, if you want to piggyback off of that before you play.
Yeah, the idea was to write a love song to all the songs that we love, without it being a cheesy song. So, for instance, fans of Red Dirt music will recognize a lot of the references and a lot of the titles to records and songs and bands. But we tried to sort of just make it a cohesive story about two kids that are just kind of falling in love and trying to navigate, life together. And one comment my wife made is, how come all these songs are having marijuana references? Because it's like, well, there's a lot of marijuana in Red Dirt music, dear. So, that's the rumor. But Dog and I do not gossip.
That's rock. I'm on home tonight, by the way. Go ahead, buddy.
So for what it's worth, but there's a line in here. Damn quails were in my speakers as you sparked another J. And that's a line from a Damn Quail song. All our expectations slipped away. Well, like that feeling in youth when you just, gosh, man, when you're just happy, it's not necessarily being in love, but you're just giddy with somebody. You're giddy with a girl. You're giddy with a boy. You're just driving around your town, but it's okay. Like life is okay. And that's what this song was trying to capture, because almost always in those moments, there's music. And so the love song to music I know it's redundant, guys, but that was the intention. And this is what came of it. And we're really proud of it now, too. So, and the songwriting process, like Dog was saying, this has gone through several titles and there have been lyrics that have been added and dropped. The whole songwriting process is about editing until you get that final, like, yep, there it is. That's the story we want to tell. That's the melody we want. So, all right, with that, we'll give you Troubadours, and for your listening enjoyment, hopefully. Love y'all.
A lot of folks
All right.
will recognize a lot of the references.
We were full of midnight swagger, living in that speed trap town. Never got that far away, even with the hammer down. Damn quails were in my speakers as you sparked another J, and all our expectations slipped away. Well, the troubadours remind us we should quit when we're ahead. Some things you can only sing when things go left unsaid. A melody that speaks to me as we're out running wild, trying to find ourselves among these dark and dirty miles. What have I gotta do? Whatever I gotta prove. Those lyrics sing to how I feel inside. Our story's still untold. We're ragged as a road. We could make this into something if we tried. That music's into my bloodstream. It hits me like diamonds in gasoline. Even if we fall too hard this time, living life just like the songs we love that get us high. That's a soundtrack we'll be singing till the day we die. Let's go and kiss sundown out there on the interstate. It's not the destination, but the memories we create. You rave about the Beatles, and I'll always love the Stones. We're bound to be together on this thick and twisted road. Now we're breaking out the rap and we forget about our fear. As them boys from Oklahoma take us anywhere but here. No matter what the future holds, as lovers or as friends, the road goes on forever and the party never ends. What do I gotta do? Whatever I gotta prove. Those lyrics sing to how I feel inside. Our story's still untold. We're ragged as a road. We could make this into something if we try. That music's into my bloodstream. It hits me like diamonds in gasoline. Even if we fall too hard this time, living life just like the songs we love that get us high. That's a soundtrack we'll be singing till the day we die. You can bury me in red dirt on the day I die. Light it up, Cipes!
Good job, dude. Anything else you want to add to? I don't have any quotes from Jim on that because I threw you a curveball and I didn't tell him we were doing this one tonight. But I'm sure we can get some. Actually, here, you know what I'm going to do? There is a quote that I wanted to say from Jim, just about the general process and kind of his morale when it comes to this stuff. Where it is? He really sent it to me the other day. Oh, so he kind of started this text to me off with like a scenario, like he's sitting by a fire and you see dragon's eyes and all this stuff. But I think this is cool. So this is from Jim Napier. And if you guys are just joining us, Jim is the guru. He is John's Bernie Taupin. He is the Bernie Taupin to John's
Yeah.
Lennon. He is the Paul McCartney to John's John Lennon. Elton John, Bernie Taupin. I mean, obviously, we don't have the bank account, but
Yeah.
Jim
is the silent partner. Jim is he's the lumberjack that cuts down trees around power lines, who doesn't cut down trees around power lines anymore. He'll always be our lumberjack.
So he was a little bit tongue in cheek on this, but not necessarily. This is just a glimpse into his head. He says, "When I feel creative, I imagine a shimmering whirlpool of Montana sky slowly spinning above my head. I reach out my hand and dip it into the cool ether filled with words. Sometimes a word or phrase is pulled down, its structure or meaning conveying a feeling that fits perfectly like a puzzle piece." Now, that's some deep stuff, but I think you don't even need to know Jim. I think any of us have always had a spot like that where if it's not songwriting, maybe it's just getting outside and going fishing, or it's hanging out with one of your buddies and just like, that's the whole essence of like abiding, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you abide with people or you're abiding in life, it's you have those feelings where you're just like, and so when Jim lives in his head or he gets some inspiration, that's how he processes stuff. And so then he'll reach out to John or me, or usually John will reach out to him in a different capacity. But then that's how everything gets rolling. That's how the ball starts rolling. And then God knows what happens after that. But I thought that was a cool quote from him as part of his process, why don't we, that's Clone.
There are so many people there. Yeah, Clone, so good to see your name in the chat room. Yeah, could be a total robot faking to be our brother Chris Clone, but the Cyclone is with us spiritually. How's that?
Let's I'm glad you guys like that one, because that's definitely gonna be one that's made the cut for the project. I feel like without giving too much away, this is definitely going to be the most cohesive project that we've done. I feel like John and Jim's songwriting has come leaps and bounds and matured so much. It really fits. It's really streamlined. They're really just plugging on all cylinders, and we'll see what happens. But that's definitely going to make the cut. Red Dirt Road Trip, which is the next one we want to do for you guys, that John's going to do for you guys. This one was also on Under the Big Sky Sessions. I keep referencing that because that was released right after it was released on the holidays. And that was kind of the first ever foray that we had into introducing some of these new songs, other than the live shows. And even up to that point, we didn't play that many of these live. So a lot of folks were introduced to these songs through that episode. Do you want to talk about a little bit about this song?
Well, yeah, this tune in particular, my boys. So I'm a Mars lover, and National Geographic, I don't know, it would have been over a year ago, probably a year and a half ish. Had an entire edition of their magazine for that month was just Mars, and it was awesome. I've read it twice. They had a fold out map in there. So my kids, I have two sons. For those of you guys who don't know me, I have two boys. They're in elementary. We put it up on their bedroom wall. So they see, how to survive on Mars every day of their life as they walk in and out of their bedroom. I randomly made the comment to Jim Napier, "Hey, Jim, we should write a song about going to Mars, going to the red dirt planet while listening to red dirt music." And he had recently listened to the Joe Rogan podcast where Joe had interviewed Elon Musk about what it would require to live on Mars. And so for whatever reason, we just started spitballing. But then the song, instead of becoming this weird song about, how do I say it? Like all the technical aspects of going to Mars, it just became a love story about these two people who are just going to run away to Mars and listen to music. And so one detail I want to share with everybody before I sing it is they talked about how you have to insulate a rocket ship, because when you're in space, there's no shade. It's just pure intense sun. And so the sun could literally boil your, your spaceship. So I remember, well, that's one way to hang out in the sun. So anyways, there's a line in there, Red Dirt Road Trip, singing in the sun. That's literally, you're just getting cooked in the sun in space. You don't think about cooking to death in absolute zero. But that was a
And
detail that I thought, yeah, go ahead.
oh no, finish up. I was going to interject.
Oh no, but like, dude, anytime we're singing Red Dirt music at these summer festivals and stuff, we're just singing our songs in the sunshine. So that was the
Right.
sentiment of, yeah, Red Dirt road trip, baby.
So what I was going to say was, if you guys, a lot of you guys have heard our Tornado Alley record. It's the blue one. And those of you that actually have the physical copy, on the inside of the liner notes on that, there's a little synopsis that I had written about that project and why we decided to basically do. It was our tribute record to the folks that made us want to play music forever, and a lot of those guys are from the Oklahoma, Red Dirt, Texas country scene, and some of those songs even were covered. So like Pinto Bennett and the famous Motel Cowboys out of Idaho, they originally did Carolina Morning. That whole genre, Texas country, Oklahoma Red Dirt, is obviously something that we really latched onto when we started following Ragweed and Reckless a decade or so ago. And this song obviously is one of those odes to them. Mm-hmm. And if you have that record that I'm talking about, Tornado Alley, go back and read that little synopsis. I forget exactly what it was, but it kind of describes the whole feeling and attitude that we have, not only towards that music, but to go back to what we were saying before about why we want to keep doing what we're doing. Because there's just, sometimes John would agree with this. We've talked about if Apple came out with an I smell or an I feel app, more or less an I feel app. If we could have somehow like have a GoPro that would be able to transfer what we're feeling on stage and what we're actually experiencing, other than you guys watching us play. I wish we could do that somehow to transfer that emotion and adrenaline and all that stuff. Because it's true. I mean, I'm not trying to be a freaking cheese ball. I mean, it's just the way it is.
You know, I mean, for people's a good rush. Yeah.
It's exhilarating. And so this is obviously a perfect combination of John being John and taking this thing for a ride, and Jim being like, "It's yours, take it, see what happens, see where it ends up."
Yeah, for people in the chat room or people that watch this who don't know what Red Dirt music is, it's an entire independent sort of country rock music scene in Oklahoma, Texas, but there are artists all over the country that identify as Red Dirt artists, but they're just too country to be rock, too rock to be country, based out of Oklahoma, Texas. And so in this song, there are 8 references to Red Dirt bands. Kelly's Getting Reckless, which is a reference to Reckless Kelly. And for all of you guys who know this, thank you for your patience and grace. But for those of you who don't know this, it's going to sound like gibberish. So Kelly's Getting Reckless, Stoney's Breaking Down. There's a guy named Stoney LaRue who has a pretty popular song named Oklahoma Breakdown. Cody Just Departed is a reference to Cody Canada from the band The Departed. And Cody Canada is also a member of Cross Canadian Ragweed. So Cody Just Departed, Turnpike, Tore Through Town. That's Turnpike Troubadours, which is a band. Roger That Randy is a reference to Randy Rogers. I Hear Mickey's Racing Cars is a reference to Mickey and the Motor Cars. Jason's Got a Bowl. Now, dog, that's still one of my dogs of my favorite, most clever thing. Jason's Got a Bowl and Bowen's at the Bar. There's a Red Dirt artist named Jason Boland, and God bless him, but he talks about it on stage. Smoke weed. All this too can be yours, kids. So I'm not talking crap about him. Jason's got a bowl, and I'm guessing he's got a bowl as I say this. God bless you, Jason. If you ever see this, I love your music, dude. And then Bowen's at the Bar is a reference to Wade Bowen, great country artist, Red Dirt artist, great singer, great writer. So, all right, Red Dirt road trip. And with that, I'm gonna take the headphones off so I can actually hear my voice.
You haven't been hearing your voice enough, apparently.
2. 2. They say we're crazy, like they got us figured out. I say we have fun, way more fun than anyone. So baby, pack your bags, finish your last beer. It's bye-bye, Bozeman, yeah, the countdown has begun. Got a tank full of gas, throw that throttle down. 1,000,000 pounds of thrust beneath us, kicking off the ground. And it's burn, baby, burn. Climb, baby, climb. Hold on for dear life and kiss our pale blue dot behind. Falcon heavy on the right trajectory. Partying through space and time and zero gravity. You and me together in a capsule full of bliss. Swimming through the starlight in that beautiful abyss. It's a red dirt road trip, baby, here we come. A red dirt road trip, singing in the sun. Kelly's getting reckless and Stoney's breaking down. Cody just departed, yeah, turned back toward through town. Roger, that Randy, I hear Mickey's racing cars. Jason's got a bowl and Bowen's at the bar. Falcon heavy on the right trajectory. Partying through space and time in zero gravity. You and me together in a capsule full of bliss. Swimming through the starlight in that beautiful abyss. It's a red dirt road trip, baby, here we come. A red dirt road trip, singing in the sun. Got a tank full of gas, throw that throttle down. Million pounds of thrust beneath us, kicking off the ground. And it's burn, baby, burn. Climb, baby, climb. Hold on for dear life and kiss our pale blue dot behind. Falcon heavy on the right trajectory. Partying through space and time and zero gravity. You and me together in a capsule full of bliss. Swimming through the starlight in a beautiful abyss. It's a red dirt road trip, baby, here we come. A red dirt road trip, singing in the sun. Red dirt road trip, baby, here we come. A red dirt road trip, singing in the sun. I always screw up that last round.
Oh, wow, he's human. Yeah, it actually is killing me, you guys, to not be beating on something.
Stevens, hello, brother. All right.
We're sitting.
Yeah, dog. How is it sitting here listening to me honk my way through a couple tunes and not be able to honk your way through some harmony here?
Well, that's something. No, you're doing great. That's, like I said, this isn't. I mean, I know you guys know this, but it's not necessarily meant to be a performance-based thing. We wanted to try to keep. I was talking about when I went live last week. Obviously, we don't know when there's no timeline to this ending, right? So we don't know when we're going to get back out there. And I also don't want to be able. We don't want to have to, oversaturate by just doing a bunch of performance stuff. And so I wanted to try to kind of. I keep saying I'm sorry, John. We wanted to keep switching stuff up and be able to do this. And I think this is a great thing too, because I know back in the day we used to have like the forums, and John had his Tuesday night caps, and it's just a good way for us to be able to communicate with you guys or hear what you guys have to say, and even test drive some stuff. And hopefully you guys are getting something out of this other than just us, babbling about. But I think it's just a cool way to also switch up a lot of the content that we're trying to do right now, and try to keep it fresh a little bit. Because like I said, dude, I learned this. So we're streaming from Be Live right now, which is a streaming platform. And I basically gave myself a fire under the butt tutorial last night on this thing. So the logo up top there in the background and all that stuff. Yeah, it's probably very novice, but it's pretty sweet to have a split screen and be able to feel like I'm on like a First Take or something on ESPN. except this is not about sports, except for this hat. But um, let's do. How about we do? Do you want to do Fragile Egos, or do you want to do? Should we do Fragile Egos?
Let's do Fragile Egos, and then
Yeah, we'll probably do. Let's do one more, and then if you guys got if you guys got some questions, we can try to go over it. We wanted to try to keep this to about 45 minutes or so. So why don't we do that one? You want to tell the?
You bet. So our friend Jim Napier, he's more or less a truck driver. That's the main part of his job, and so he on his lunch break one day calls me up and he basically sings me a voicemail or sends me a text video or whatever of this song, just fully formed, dumped right in my lap. And it was like, wow. At least the hook, the part of the hook. It's some of the best poetry that guy's ever written. The another show, and we'll give him hell. Pile back in our mobile wishing well. Fuck, what a good line, man. Pile back in our mobile wishing well. And that really is a van. It's just a big wishing well that stinks of empty beer cans and bad band guy body odor. The next line is, take this hope and push on down the road in a van full of fragile egos. And it really is like, now that Dog and I have lived the rock and roll, at least the college rock and roll band, like, the Clintons never got anything bigger than just a good college regional band. But now that we've lived that lifestyle in a van, we know what it is to be with, other artists, and including myself. Sometimes I'll tell Kier Dog, like I'll tell him, do this on a song. You got to do it for my fragile ego. But, our brotherhood and our bond is tight enough that, he's yet to use that vernacular with me, but he'll be like, dude, do it this way. This is how I need to hear it for my music. It's like, thank you. So all that said, Fragile Egos really is it's a love song to being in a band. And there's some sadness and some loneliness to it, but there's still an underlying hope and like this hope. Like Dog and I both agree, you got to do something with your time. We're just going to play music until it's obvious we shouldn't or can't play music anymore. We're just going to play music forever, until we can't. So the music of this song captures that feeling of just like, we're in, baby, we're in. This is it. So
I want to
go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was going to say I want to interject a couple things that Jim had to say about this song, and then also about a couple other things about you and him together, and then you can take us out with the song, and then we'll see if there's any questions at the end. But about Fragile Eagle specifically, he just said, being the son of a singer-songwriter and best friends with John, it's not hard to put myself in the shoes of musicians on the road, their hopes and dreams and desire to entertain, which is part of the premise of Fragile Egos. I want to read this disclaimer that he wrote after one of the first texts he told me about. It was a brain dump, more or less. And there's some funny stuff in here, but this is as true as and tried and true as it gets with Jim. So John and I this is from Jim Napier. John and I often have conflicting memories on how something started, or even on who wrote a specific line. That's true. As you can imagine, on many co-writes, everything originally floods out of one or both of us. And for some cosmic reason, our thoughts and ideas sync up, and we are able to push its boundaries musically and lyrically, molding it into something we find beautiful or inspiring, or just kick ass. It's the music that is the drug. And in order for us to stay high, we must continue to create and motivate each other. After some time has passed, it all starts to run together as far as who wrote what. Hence, any songs we write together are just 50-50 co-writes for us, because as far as we are concerned, it was always only about the high that came from writing it. Mm-hmm. It all comes out in the wash. Besides, as you'll see, it can be pretty comical to listen to our brains try to decide which one of us went and wrote that line, which is a line in this song. True. So that's a great segue.
And what's crazy, Dog, is it goes two ways. Like I'll be like, yeah, I wrote that line. And Jim will be like, I wrote that line. But then there are other times I'll be like, dude, that's the best line you've ever written, Jim. He'll be like, dude, you wrote that. And I thought that was the best line you ever wrote. It's like, so it goes two ways. It's not just, it's funny that Fragile Egos, it is about wanting to be accepted and recognized as an artist, as a writer. But it's also like, you don't remember if you just keep editing and you keep going and you keep pushing and you just keep working on things. It's amazing how it all just blends together. And so I'm so grateful in my world personally to have this relationship with Kier Dog and with Jim Napier, that I can just be open and honest and just dump it all out. And it just, like Jim Napier says, it comes out in the wash. So, all right, Fragile Egos. And of course, I didn't know we were doing this one, dog, so I got to go get my capo. So talk to the people while I go in my unicorn pajamas to get my instrument stuff.
That's funny. No, I just posted on the chat that I know there's been a lot of people commenting on this kind of format, and we're having a great time with it too. I'm just glad that it actually worked. We don't really ever get to talk about this stuff and share this stuff really with a whole lot of folks. And so I think it's a good way to kind of, hopefully you guys are getting a different perspective on some of the songs when you come and see us play. Maybe there's a different perspective, and we're not trying to provide anything other than just some content for you to keep on going and to kind of fill out this void that we're all in right now. But yeah, like I said, I think we're going to try to do this once a week, once every 10 days, and take 3 to 4 songs each time and kind of break them down. And if you guys have some stuff that you want to ask us, or if there's some songs specifically that you want us to go over, I mean, we're fine going over the old stuff too. We just figured we'd do some new ones today. I mean, other than cover songs, everything that we've ever performed is written by John and Jim, or John and another, co-writer. So we're more than happy to share all that stuff with you guys. We're really happy that you guys are here with us. And obviously a lot of you guys that have been with us a long time, even if some of you guys have never even heard these stories. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. We appreciate you guys being with us tonight. And I'm going to try and post this on our YouTube channel. I just have to download this when it's all done and then upload it. So it might not be until later tonight or tomorrow, but we'll see how it works. We love you guys. Thanks for being here with us. Johnny?
Yeah.
Wait.
I second the motion. Love y'all. Thank you, guys. And
thanks for the beer,
I'll
Max.
tell you guys the stories behind the songs, because it is the songs that get us high, man. All right. Fragile Egos. Well, I ain't trying to pick no fight, but you drink too much near every night. You know I'm gonna have to quit someday, but the real me dies if I walk away. I don't want to tell you what to do, but those skinny jeans will never look good on you. And the daydream money from the lies we're sold, but we need the real thing, 'cause the tank is low. Another show, and you know we'll give them hell. Pile back in our mobile, wishing well. Take this hope, push on down the road, in a van full of fragile egos. We'll write the next verse, what it's all about. Another little piece of my soul comes out, and I share the melody in my ear. I hope it's what they want to hear. Which one of us done wrote that line? I guess it doesn't really matter if it gets us high. We're gonna chase that fire till it's finally lit. Lord knows it only takes one hit. Another show, and you know we'll give them hell. Pile back in our mobile, wishing well. Take this hope and push on down the road, in a van full of fragile egos. Set up, tear down, rinse, repeat. The crowd is the rhythm of my heartbeat. And the only time I truly feel alive, when the lights come up to start the night. It's just a drum with 6 steel strings, but the drug it always calls to me. And I know I'm gonna have to quit someday, but the real me dies if I walk away. Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
Fist bump, boom.
Hey, we love you guys so much. Thanks for being here with us. We're gonna stay tuned. I got a couple ideas for Saturday or Sunday this week. We were supposed to be in Coal Strip this weekend on Saturday for a thing called Sid's Wish, which is something that I need to just post about, and might even just do a Facebook Live about it to help you guys kind of to tell the story of that foundation and that organization. So I don't know if we're going to be able to go live with the performance. We're going to try. Kind of depends how this shakes out. But if nothing else, I want to at least give them their due attention and recognition for inviting us to be part of their night, their fundraiser, their annual fundraiser. That's obviously not going to happen. So hopefully we can come up with something where we can at least shine a light on those guys and raise a little bit of money for them and at least give them some exposure and recognition in this community. So we love you guys. Thank you. Cheers. Good job, Johnny. You're fired.
Thank you, dog.